Peter Collins' 1969 Italian Job and Edgar Wright's 2017 Baby Driver are both films categorized as belonging to the heist film genre, a subgenre of crime film. They contain iconic imagery from the red, white and blue minis in Italian Job to one of the many iPods Baby has for his different moods in Baby Driver. These films have been selected as they were made in contrasting eras of the heist film genre, as they were released almost 50 years apart. Collins' film follows Charlie Croker, played by Michael Caine, and his plot to steal £4 million of gold from the Italians. The film ends on its famous literal cliffhanger as the bus they used spins out on a tight turn, making it balance on the edge of a cliff. Baby Driver also features a heist to steal money from a bank. The audience are taken on a journey with Baby, played by Ansel Elgort, a getaway driver for a crime syndicate led by Doc, played by Kevin Spacey. The film ends with a romantic, happy ending. Italian Job and Baby Driver are both very different interpretations of the heist film genre. These films can be looked at in terms of film theorist Steve Neal's ideas of repetition and genre. Steve Neal states that genre is understood by an audience as being made up of traditional elements combined with new ones to create variation. In Neal's words, genres are instances of repetition and difference. It's the variation that makes film more appealing for audiences. Every film in the same genre must be different in some way. Without the variation between the films, the audience gets bored of that. That genre as it becomes predictable. In Italian Job, many classic elements of the heist genre can be seen. The crew meeting and preparing, a chase, and the eventual heist itself, where they often complete it. This repetition of the genre makes it instantly recognizable as a heist film for audiences, and lets people know what to expect from the film. As there had been many successful heist films previous to this, for example Ocean's 11. However, Italian Job repeated the aspects needed to create a successful heist film whilst including humour, putting it in the periodic stage of its cycle. This idea comes from film theorist Christian Metz, who states that all genres go through 4 stages in its cycle. The periodic stage, where conventions are mocked, the classic stage, where conventions become iconic, the experimental stage, where conventions are established, and the deconstruction stage, where rules are broken. Baby Driver shares a lot of the same aspects as Italian Job, although it was made almost 50 years later. The preparational meetings and car chases make the audience aware that this is a heist film. However, this film comes at the deconstructional stage of the genre, so there's a lot of aspects that make it unique. There are some examples of similarities from classic heist films. For example, when the protagonists are involved in a getaway in a car and the authorities are instantly following them. Baby Driver is merged with the comedy genre, making it more appealing for audiences and reflects the deconstructive nature of the film. At the time Baby Driver was released, heist films tend to be over the top and not realistic. For example, the Fast and Furious franchise. Baby Driver experimented with the genre, bringing it back to its roots, with most of the stunts being done in real life. The director Edgar Wright is known for his use of sound in his films, and Baby Driver is no different. The songs he uses have a purpose to make the audience feel a certain way. The way the stunt driving is choreographed, with the shots cut on the beat, and the mise en scène, as this scene shows the lyrics on the street. This shows how genre evolves with time, and keeps the films relevant to keep the audience interested and engaged. A typical scene we expect to see in a heist movie is a chase. This is typically in cars, however can be on foot or in other vehicles. Chase scenes often cut between the interior of the cars and then to the exterior rapidly to build the idea of speed and tension for the audience. Both Baby Driver and Italian Job have car chases. Firstly, the Italian Job's car chase near to the end of the film involves 3 Mini Cooper S's, playfully driving around Turin to escape the police while avoiding traffic. The Minis are driven downstairs around a rooftop test track. This is significant to any petrolhead, as they will know Fiat used to use a factory called the Lingato building in Turin that had a test track on the roof. They also drove through the sewers. The cars remain in the same order, red, white and blue, which represent the British flag. The choice of the Mini to be used as a getaway vehicle is also significant, as it was and still is one of the most successful British cars ever, and is always associated with Britain. In 2017, Tom Barnard from Auto Express rated it the greatest British car of all time, with Edmund King saying, The Mini also had 31 international rally victories and 4 championships, with the first ever rally win at the 1962 Tupland Rally with Pat Moss, sister of Sterling Moss, behind the wheel. This shows why the Mini was the car that Charlie Croker's team would escape in with the gold. Looking at Baby Driver, in particular the opening chase scene that the film is famous for, and it uses another iconic car, a Subaru Impreza WRX. Subaru is known for its rally pedigree, as Subaru have won 47 World Rally events and 3 WRC manufacturer championships, as well as many driver championships. Not only does it win rallies, but it also wins on the track, with 4 class wins in Germany's 24-hour Nürburgring. Although Wright had the option to use CGI and visual effects for the stunts, he wanted to do the stunts in real life to give the film more verisimilitude. This meant the cars used in the film got modified, such as a conversion to rear-wheel drive, race parts, and a buck car. Narrative structure is also something the audience expect to see change, as every narrative is different. However, for them to fit into a genre, they need to be similar. So how do Baby Drivers and Italian Job's narratives compare? Looking at Sid Field's model of the 3-act structure. The first act, or setup, introduces the main character and establishes the setting. In Italian Job, this is when we meet Charlie as he is leaving prison. This differs to Baby Driver, as we meet Baby at the start of a bank robbery, where we learn he likes music and is a good driver. Confrontation, or Act 2, is split into 2 parts, as Act 2 is normally twice as long as Act 1 and 3. Act 2 has the main character pursue their objective, whilst facing obstacles along the way. This leads towards a crisis. The confrontation in Italian Job would be when Charlie gets Mr. Bridger to help him with the heist. The midpoint would start at the training in the sports centre, and the end would be when they arrive in Turin. This differs to Baby Driver, as in the first half of the confrontation act, Baby meets Deborah at the diner she works at, then does another robbery, leading to the midpoint of the film, where Baby pays off his debt, and Baby thinks he is done with his life of crime. Then after his date with Deborah, Doc blackmails him to stay in the crime syndicate, and then they start preparing for their next job. The third and final act is the resolution, when the main character's goal is typically achieved. The Italian Job's final act would be the heist, which seems to go smoothly until the climax, at the end, when the bus hanging off the edge of the cliff. Similarly, Baby Driver's resolution act begins with the start of a robbery. Bats kills the security guard, angering Baby, who drives into a scaffold pole, killing Bats. The climactic scene sees all the main characters dead, and Baby getting arrested and sent to prison. However, the movie ends when Baby gets out on parole after 5 years in prison to see Deborah waiting for him. Baby had completed his goal, ending his life of crime and being with Deborah, but pays his dues to society along the way, proving that crime doesn't pay. The heist genre has changed over the years, but not much. The technical aspects are still similar, although visual effects allow the stunts to look more impressive. However, the narrative aspects have changed, as more recent films are merging genres, such as rom-com with action, to create more elaborate films that appeal to larger audiences. I think heist films are only going to get better, with the help of modern technology and mixing genres.